Hello there everyone, I'm Brian, also known as UKGN Zoidberg, and welcome to Retro Face Off, a brand new series here on UK Gaming Network. Trying to decide which of two games you should be playing can often be quite tricky, especially when you find yourself with two games that are incredibly similar. The aim of this series is to let you know which one, if any, I think you should be playing. Every month here on Retro Face Off, I'm going to pit two games against each other, whether that's two games in the same genre, same series, or even in some cases comparing the Amiga versions to their console counterparts. I'm simply going to play both games, give you my thoughts on each, and then tell you which one I prefer. As we're in the month of October, the first two games that are going to face off are the Amiga versions of Ghosts and Goblins and Ghouls and Ghosts, both based on the iconic Capcom arcade machines. Which one was the best conversion and which one is the most fun to play? Let's find out. Released in 1989 by US Gold, this conversion came from Software Creations. Programmer David Broadhurst and artist Andrew Threlfall had previously collaborated on the Amiga versions of Bubble Bobble and Bionic Commando, and Broadhurst would go on to make Assassin for Team 17. Musician Tim Follin made his name composing the soundtracks for multiple 8-bit hits, including Agent X on the Spectrum and the Commodore 64 version of Flying Shark. Review scores at the time of release included 92% from multi-format magazine The Games Machine and 91% from Amiga Format. Even though this is, chronologically, the first game, the Amiga version wasn't released until a year after the sequel. Published by Elite Systems, it was developed by their in-house team. This included programmer Richard Frankish, also responsible for Amiga versions of Buggy Boy, Paperboy and Space Harrier. Graphics were by David Percival, who worked on the Amiga versions of Live and Let Die and Sega's World Championship Soccer, whereas composer Mark Cooks' music can be heard on Commando, Overlander and Forgotten Worlds. Review scores included 84% from the Games Machine, 80% from both Zero and Amiga Format, and 72% from Amiga Action. Okay, let's start the analysis section of this video by playing the games in the order that they were released. So starting with Ghouls and Ghosts. Now, although this game does look a little bit like the Atari ST version, you will actually, if you play both the two side by side, you'll see that the Amiga version does actually have more colours. It definitely looks enough like the arcade original to be considered Ghouls and Ghosts. I've seen a lot worse arcade conversions than this one. Now, Tim Follin's music is pretty excellent, it must be said. Unfortunately, it's not the arcade music, which in itself is pretty iconic. There are no sound effects, though. According to the manual, you can press F2 to switch between them. F1 is pause, yeah, that's paused it. And F2 should change between music and sound effects, but apparently it does not. It's not quite as easy as it should be to fire your weapon upwards. A lot of the time you will find yourself jumping by accident. Well, that's not very good, is it? One just reappeared as soon as I killed it in exactly the same place. Don't know if it was a conscious decision on the part of the programmers to not have the enemies appear as quite as frequently as they do in the arcade version. Maybe it was a struggle to get the Amiga to have that many sprites on screen, or maybe they just realised that the controls weren't responsive enough. I want to try and see if the game has the same power-up system as it should. So if I can open the next chest, that will give me the power armor, which I can hold down the fire button and use, like that. Okay, that did not give me the gold armor. Is the gold armor not a thing in this game? Apparently it isn't. And that's what happens when you jump by accident when you're trying to fire upwards. I mean, I know this series is notorious for being hard, but this really does feel like it's overly difficult. But it's also, unfortunately, one of those, one of the many, in fact, arcade conversions on the Amiga, where the developers didn't really have enough time to do the game justice. They would have been told to rush it in order to get it out on time. At least I think that's what happened. This feels to me like somebody played the arcade version of Ghouls and Ghosts for a couple of hours and no more than that, and then thought, oh yes, I know how to make that. Because we know what David Broadhurst as a programmer is capable of when given the time, with the likes of Assassin and Bubble Bobble. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get past this opening level, am I? And I'm not really enjoying myself either. Which, considering how much of a fan of Ghouls and Ghosts I am, is saying something. So let's move on and see what Ghosts and Goblins is like. Okay, it's instantly apparent that the developers had more time on this one, which probably explains why this game came out after the sequel. But the controls are nice and responsive. Everything seems to be here, gameplay-wise. You have the proper arcade music, you've got sound effects. Doesn't seem to have skimped on the number of enemies that are on screen either. I mean, it's a little bit... It's not arcade perfect. There's definitely less colours. The scrolling's a little bit jerky and weird. There we go, first level complete. Nope. That's up and down scrolling was a little bit jerky there, but nothing I can't live with. Oh no! Right, okay. The controls weren't responsive enough in that instance. It didn't turn around for me. Oh yes, I forgot you can't actually fire upwards on this one, can you? It's quite shocking that this game got significantly worse reviews than Ghouls and Ghosts did. Because this is all round a much better conversion. Oh no, give me that. Yeah, that's the up and down scrolling is quite smooth, but when you're actually falling through it, it's not great. "14 seconds left. Oh, there's two of them. "4 seconds. Well, hey. Daggers was always my favourite weapon. I've always felt that the way that the game does that with the map screen between lives gives you that vital couple of seconds to just compose yourself before another run. So it's nice to have it back for this one. I mean, I think Elite did a pretty decent job all round with this game conversion wise, because I remember the Commodore 64 and Spectrum versions being pretty decent as well. Oh, and that is game over. So yeah, let's leave this this section of the video right here and round up the summary. I think after all that, it's fairly obvious to say which way this summary is going to go. Taken in isolation, Ghouls and Ghosts is an unremarkable but fairly enjoyable platform game. Trouble is, it's based on a brilliant arcade game, and if you compare it to the original, it is a pretty low effort production. The complete and utter lack of sound effects hurts the game immensely, and the music, while excellent in its own right, does not fit the game at all. I really wish there was at least an attempt to include some of the music from the arcade original, and there are too many missing features that actually end up making the game harder. At least when the original game was difficult, it was fair at the same time. Ghosts and Goblins, on the other hand, is a solid conversion that thankfully feels like the developers played the arcade original for more than 5 minutes. While not perfect, all the elements of the arcade game are here. It looks and sounds great, and it even plays well with a single button joystick. There are a few graphical glitches, the vertical scrolling hurts the eyes but is mercifully brief, and I got stuck on the scenery a couple of times, but even with all that, it's well worth playing if you're a fan. So at the end of the day, Ghouls and Ghosts is a 4 out of 10 from me, and Ghosts and Goblins is a solid 7 out of 10, and a clear winner. I hope you enjoyed this new series of Retro Face Off. Have you played either of these games yourself? Let me know what you think of them in the comments, and if you like this new style of video. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe to show your support for the channel while you're at it. There are new videos about Amiga games every Friday on this channel, including episodes of the re-review and Best 10. I also live stream every Tuesday as well. If there are any games that you'd like to see me cover in some form, please feel free to join our Discord, link in the video description, where there's a channel dedicated to game suggestions. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, happy retro gaming everybody, and I'll see you soon.